Oh no, I'm live on the internet. Hello, welcome to Telling Tales. I'm Matt, your GM for the evening, and this is Symbaroum, a role playing system of dark fantasy from Free League. And without any further ado, let's introduce some people. First off, everyone say hi to John, our stream manager. If you see him pop up like this, although not right now, then something has probably gone horribly, horribly, horribly wrong.
Oh no!
Oh no! So there we go. John will be moderating and telling me rules issues and doing little things behind the scenes and generally making everything wonderful. Thank you, John. Right, let's get the players on one by one, and then let's get the show on the road. First off, we have Chris, who is playing Steo, the burnt-out former soldier turned town guard, mercenary, and general bitter man. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hi. And I realise now that over the last couple of sessions that you've piled crisis on top of crisis, that my choice of character and this choice of setting is not good escapism.
Sure. I don't know what. I mean, I don't know what you mean. 2020 is an amazing year, and everything's fine. Everything's fine. Look at that. The face of a man who has seen some shit. He's seen some shit. And the artwork as well.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, God. So Steo, along with everyone else, is kind of trapped in an enclosure with some ravening goblins and their dubious leaders outside. How's Steo feeling about that?
So, Steo, I had initially thought that this was somehow connected to the abomination we slew prior, but it's becoming increasingly apparent that this is a completely detached disaster, and Steo's just feeling incredibly put upon, not least because I'm moments from death, more or less, or at least moments for rolling for death.
You're pretty cut up.
Pretty cut up, and just very angry at this state of circumstance because there was enough work to do already without having to save a small hold on the main road.
Yeah, and now this. Summing up my general storytelling style. So let's bring on the person who did a rousing job in trying to heal your wounds. Let's bring on Mike, who plays Anton, our resident Theurg. And one day, I promise we'll stop ragging on him about his die rolls.
Yeah. Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Anton, and I'm a healer. Sometimes I heal people.
I mean, healing can take many forms. Perhaps you just buoy their mood and hope for the best. Perhaps Anton is a what do you call it? I've forgotten the name of the particular quackery now. With the dilutions of what's it called? No one can remember the name of it. But yeah, that thing where basically you tried to reduce it down so that homeopathy, yeah. So the least amount of healing you can do is actually the best healing.
Yeah. Does that translate in the rule book in any way? The least amount of healing I can do is the best healing? No.
If anything, Mike, the opposite.
Yes. I thought as much. Yeah.
No, the rule book follows the kind of that well accepted, broadly scientifically proven sheeple mentality that to do something you have to do it the most that you can do.
Oh, well, that changes everything. I'll definitely start rolling better now.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Speaking of people who need healing, let's bring on Elle, whose barbarian warrior Ephanea is definitely the most slashed up. What a horrible term.
Usually. Although actually I do believe that, the not healer did help me a little bit last session. The barman, who is better than the healer, did help me.
Well, he didn't even actually do healing. He just got some herbal cures and went, "Oh, in the name of God, have these."
Oh my god, your intestines should not be on the
They
outside.
definitely shouldn't be visible. So there we go. Yeah. What's in Efenea's head at the moment about all this horrible
Black
circumstance?
Hawk.
The Black Hawk the Minstrel is in Efenea's head.
Exactly. So she is just kind of like a bit put out at this point because she's just like, God damn, guys, I just give me just one evening to like heal up before the next onslaught.
Just one evening before the siege.
Yeah, just one evening before the siege.
Yeah.
Is the title of my new Broadway show.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I wish you'd had it as well, but obviously it's out of my hands. So what can I do? Let's bring on the final member of our group. It's Sam, and he plays Ascarai, the elusive changeling ranger. Rangeling, who I think we said Rangeling is better, I think. Who's spent most of it seems like a good chunk of last week stood at a window firing arrows at things,
and shouting at Blackhawk.
Yeah. Which did eventually succeed. So there we go.
Doing well.
So what's running through Ascarai's mind at the moment?
Concern. Especially, he's happy he hasn't been wounded yet, seeing as it seems there's really very little chance of ever getting healed from it.
Turns out the secret to combat in Symbaroum is stand at the back.
Yeah, just stand really far away. Don't let anyone hit you. That's.
I'm really glad I'm a berserker.
And make your healing rolls. Yeah. Mike's so put upon.
It's only fair, honestly.
Fortunately, we've known each other a fair amount of time, Mike, and we are both aware that one of my hobbies is causing you pain. So we're well on track.
Which he then can't heal, right?
Certainly not the emotional scars. No. Okay, let's have a bit of a recap. So we won't go back to the events in the previous story arc. Suffice to say, you had reason to seek shelter at a inn called Jackad's Heart on the road back to Thistlehold, where you all dwell. And it seemed a nice enough place, quite a fancy place with an enclosure and a big garden, tended by a kind of mysterious, silent ogre called Mangold, and run by a woman called Cauldra, a former soldier, with her family. And everything seemed fine. You met a minstrel called Blackhawk, who was, a character. Let's just say he's a character.
He's a lad.
He's a minstrel lad. And you also encountered an odd male witch, which is in itself quite unusual in the world of Symbaroum, who ended up getting thrown out of the inn for basically acting weird and shouting things about how his mistress needs the magic water from the shrine and all sorts of stuff. You did hear a tale later about how the inn was kind of founded by a former witch hunter called Jackad, who apparently, through some circumstance, either found or caused to happen, the spring that's here in the enclosure would produce healing water called Water of the Dusk, which is an elixir that the Church of Prios forms themselves and is quite known for. But apparently had a kind of natural supply of it here, and then he got killed by elves. So Cauldra either took over or rebuilt. You're not entirely sure about how that transition occurred. Either way, woken up in the middle of the night by a barrage of arrows, and it turns out there's a whole bunch of drug-crazed goblins outside trying to get over the enclosure. You had to fight a few of them off and kill a few of them and chuck their ladder that they were trying to climb over with back to the ground. And while doing all that, you saw that there's someone with a cauldron producing weird red mist out of it that seems to be driving them into this frenzy. And there's another figure, a tall, dark figure, who seems to be their leader. And when thwarted, she ordered them to start building battering rams and more ladders. We've retreated back to the inn for the time being, and that's kind of where we pick things up, right? That's kind of where we pick things up.
Yeah.
As we have a kind of thing where every other week we talk about the more kind of advanced, not that many of them are that advanced, rules modules in the core book and decide whether to implement them into our story ongoing. And we have a little bit of, tiniest little bit of discussion about them now, and then chat can talk about them as well, and then we'll decide at the end of the session whether we want to implement it fully. We've only done it with one so far, which was the kind of criticals and fumbles, which we went for. And this time we are debating re-rolls for experience. So essentially, it's very simple. You spend an experience point, you get to re-roll.
I like this. I like this.
There's certain things you can't re-roll for, and it gives some suggestions on those, but you can kind of discuss, amongst yourselves exactly what else is on that. It does suggest death tests, which I agree with, and a fumbled defense. I'd actually proposed fumbles in general that you can't reroll because it seems like a thing. So yeah, so have a think about whether you want that in chat. Have a chat about whether you think that should be incorporated, and at the end we'll decide on it. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so I'll set the scene. It's a few hours before dawn. You're all in the common room of the inn. Ephinair and Steo have been patched up ever so slightly by Tandrag, Caldra's husband. And everyone's kind of looking at each other, wondering what to do next, because you've got about 3 or 4 hours until the goblins build that siege gear. Oh, another thing I didn't mention. At least one goblin doesn't want to go along with this nonsense. His name is, if I can open the right PDF. Shuglud. His name is Shuglud. And he basically managed to get himself into the enclosure by, persuading you to let him in, and has now told you his tribe, who have kind of fallen from grace, have all been drugged up by this witch from earlier, and the leader is called Nightblade, and he wants to foil them as much as you do, if not more. So there we go. You're all there in the common room.
Right.
All right.
So your one with the cauldron wants the water from the well. Otherwise, these rent-a-siegers are going to attempt to beat the front door down with branches off a tree. Is anyone wondering why we don't just try and parley and give them the water?
I mean, I, for one, feel like the one in charge seems, only slightly marginally more intelligent than his or her goblin counterparts, and I feel like only bad things will happen if she gets this water. And to be honest, I've had enough of being led on 7,000 different quests, and I'd quite like to not add evil over lady, lord, person to that. Personally,
I feel a duty to protect the shrine, to stay here and look after these people who've treated us well and accepted us in.
Well, we're not sacking the place. We're sending someone out there with a wet skin of water and going, here is this so-called magical water we got. Look, I'm nearly dead. Ephinair is nearly 2 Ephinairs. We can't fight 60 more goblins, not without better equipment, not without anti-siege mechanisms. This is a bar. It's not a feckin' fortress.
Tandrag kind of glances at Cauldra and they kind of share a meaningful look, and Cauldre says, "Yes, and well, to be honest with you, the water does nothing anymore."
That's fine by me. They wanted the water.
I mean, why don't we? I mean, obviously, the goblins themselves are too hopped up on whatever the hell they've been given. How about, to buy some time, we send someone out with a flask of water that isn't from the well?
Or why not just send a flask of water out that is from the well? Like, we don't need to add deception. I'd rather not piss off the drunken horde. I mean, okay. Look, if it comes to blows again, I'm not sure it's going to turn out as well as the first time did for us. Could we send someone on a horse up the road to Thistlehold or any of the near towns and alert the watch? Maybe we can get an extra pair of boots on the ground or something.
Blackhawk leans forward, kind of slightly hungover look on his face, and says, "I think the professional warrior gentleman here has a sterling idea, and I would like to volunteer myself for that very perilous task."
Of course you would.
Shuglud, who's been kind of warming his hands and his feet by the fire, turns around and says, "Need I remind you that my tribe are slaves?"
So we buy them off? They're
What if
slaves,
it's
not
not-
mercenaries.
Look, if this water doesn't work, Nightblade is going to kill everyone.
Yeah.
And if it did work, she'd go away with my tribe.
So what do you want us to do?
How are we meant to take on 60-odd goblins? Look at me,
don't-
I'm almost cleaved in twain.
Maybe we don't have to do that if we get rid of Nightblade and Ashfaru. That's the witch.
Well, Ascarai, good luck.
Just because he's wearing black doesn't mean he's a flipping assassin. Oh, bless us.
He was shooting them out the windows pretty well.
There's what, half a league between us and
They're
them?
definitely stood past the range of a bow.
Oh,
Okay,
Oh.
look, we've options on the table. Deception, run for help, sneaky, slicey. Anything else?
how about run for help? Because, I mean, we've still got a few hours before... I mean, I don't know how long it'd take help to arrive, but I know we've got some time before the goblins break through. If we send for aid and try and just cut off the problem at the head with this, I don't know, night dagger woman person. I mean, one woman versus 60 goblins. I mean, women are great. I'm a woman. I fight good. But she looks skinnier than me.
Yeah. Why not more than one solution?
I feel like I should, because I don't know if you were saying it for emphasis or to be precise, but there are probably, I can't remember exactly how many goblins you killed, but certainly 3 or 4. There's probably around 25 goblins rather than 60.
Yeah. No, we're just being like overly dramatic, I believe.
Okay.
We've got a few hours until dawn. If we're going to sneak out and do something, now is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Cauldre says, if someone does want to sneak out, we have rope. You can be let down over the palisade at the back of the enclosure.
I think it's gonna, like, here's the thing. We can probably get someone up. Where would we be going? Like Thistlehold? Would we make it there in an hour or 2 on horseback?
No.
Like, on horseback,
Couple of
we can get someone there, but no one's going to be back for the day, at least, even if they can convince people that
It's probably about 2 hours on horse to Thistlehold.
All right, I'm just gonna F&A sighs with resignation. I'm gonna turn towards. Oh, I've forgotten it. Tandrag, is it Tangrad?
Tandrag is Caldra's husband.
Yes. So I'm gonna turn towards him and just say, "Look, I know you've got a business to run, but we saved your daughter. I specifically saved your daughter. We're about to save this entire hold. Can you spare another? Can you spare another salve for me and Steel here?
I mean, he probably could, but the salves are a one a day thing. So.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Unfortunately, you've already had all the healing you can have for this day. So
time to die, I guess.
So, right. Tactically speaking, you've 2 horses, don't you, Caldra?
I said a couple of horses, didn't I? So yes, let's say there are 2.
Okay, so just going deep on one of these plans, we get 2 volunteers to ride out. One of them is a distraction and will ride back after gaining the attention of some of the goblins and trying to get them away. The other one makes for the nearest settlement as fast as possible, the nearest settlement with a town guard, and alerts them. Best case scenario, 4 or 5 hours time, we get some boots on the ground. Worst case scenario, someone will collect our bodies.
Well, I'm all in favour of body collection, I suppose. Oh, let's just... This is too much for my brain. This is too much thinking. I'm just going to sink my axe into someone before they can sink it into me.
Yeah, but it's 25 of them's the problem. Okay. Option 2. Cauldron. They want the water. We might have a chance of being able to get away from here.
This is my family's home. If we leave and they burn it, we have nothing.
I suppose you can't really build an inn out of revenge. Okay, and option 3, which we need to put into motion. We're going to have to take a shot at your woman.
That does seem the best bet.
I am looking at Ascarai at this point with a kind of you have the most health points of the lot of us.
That look we're all familiar with.
Therefore, that makes him the best person for the job.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
Blackhawk kind of slaps his thighs and stands up and says, "Well, I better saddle that horse then." Cauldra shoots him a cold look and says, "My daughter is riding to Thistlehold."
And I will slap Blackhawk, compatriot on the shoulder and just, well, good sir, looks like you're about to get another song to sing from your brave actions.
He looks a bit green.
Upon hearing mention of Blackhawk maybe singing a song, I'm going to take myself up to the top of that watchtower again and just survey the lands and just see what I can see where the goblins are, see if I can hear them, see if anything's happening with the red mist.
No point. No point. No problem.
That's very generous of you.
Give me.
The goblins are already here.
Give me a vigilant roll at a -1 because although your eyes have kind of adjusted to the night now, it's still quite dark. While you're doing that, Cauldra says, "So, who is going to be the distraction?" She kind of glances over at the minstrel and he goes, My riding skills are much more focused to straight lines, I'm afraid. Yes.
You live up to your reputation. That is to say, basically nothing. Anyone else? Any other horsemen, horsewomen in the house?
I mean, you can all ride horses.
I still think the minstrel's our best bet.
The minstrel, if we give that man a horse, we won't see him or the horse again until we're the subject of a song.
Blackhawk kind of looks like he's going to say something about you besmirching his honor and then just stops.
Anton.
Anton isn't there.
He's not there, of course.
He's at the gatehouse and he's rolled a die for vigilant. What does he get?
It's not a healing roll, so I succeed.
Excellent. The goblins have torn down a couple of trees from the kind of small patch of woodland just a bit further down the road, and they are very crudely fashioning a battering ram out of one of them and some ladders out of the other. They don't seem to be very good at it, so it's definitely going to be at least another couple of hours. The figure by the cauldron, presumably Ashfaru, is still kind of stirring it up. It's still overflowing with this sickly red mist, and you currently can't see any sign of Nightblade. But she could well be with the goblins among the trees or in any number of places. It's very dark.
Okay. Well, I'll come back down to the group and let them know that everyone, I think we have maybe 2 hours before we can expect the horde of goblins to break down the gate.
Anton,
we need to make a decision. Yes,
we would like to volunteer you for an important job. We're going to send Melga out to Thistlehold on the back of a horse to raise help. That's a 2-hour job, but we need a distraction, and you're the one of us who is most likely to survive another couple of arrows from goblins. Would you kindly saddle up alongside Melga and try and distract some of the goblins while she makes for Thistlehold?
She goes one way, and I could maybe head back to that small village near the river that we were at earlier.
No, we'll need you back in the encampment. You're just there to draw fire and get back in, just to give her as much chance as possible of evading detection and getting out of range.
Okay.
Ascarai, while this is happening, is a perfect opportunity for you to sneak out. Would you be willing to? I know this probably isn't your skill set. You don't strike me as the assassin sort, but
I can shoot stuff. It's worth a try.
Cauldra kind of hefts up a big rope from behind the bar. I don't know why, and says, "We can lower this off the back palisade. Perhaps Ascarai can come down off that as the distraction is being made, and Anton can circle round the palisade on the horse, get off the horse by the rope, give it a slap to make sure it runs away so the goblins don't get it, and we'll pull you up this rope."
Yeah, that sounds great.
Shedward, can you fight?
I can fight.
Maybe come with me.
All right, then. Right. This is more like it. Yes.
A plan.
Let's kill those bastards. He kind of pulls out a short sword or a couple of short swords and is kind of examining them. His swords are not rusty like the other goblins. They've been well taken care of.
Nice.
Cauldra, do you have axes and stuff we could use to get to these ladders quicker when they finally bring them up?
I've got some hand axes, yes.
Okay, we got the formations of a plan here. Well, 3 plans all at once. Should be fine. God, I want to go to bed. I just needed a night off.
Well, when you don't have if you're not sure about one plan, then just throw several plans at the wall and something like it. It'll be fine.
I mean, is completely lost at this point. She's just like, yes, things are happening.
So just for the clarity then, the plan is that kind of simultaneously, Ascarai is lowered down the back of the palisade on a rope, or climbs down the rope. At the same time, both the horses, which have been saddled up, are kind of, the gate opens, the two horses rush out. One of them, ridden by Melga, who's Caldra's daughter, is going to try and head straight north, or northeast, straight towards Thistlehold. And the other one, which Anton is riding, is going to cause some kind of it is a distraction by itself, but he's going to cause as much of a distraction as possible, ride off tentative sort of towards the southwest, and then he's going to circle round to the back of the palisade, and then you'll be lifted at the rope, so you're back in the enclosure. Does that sound like what we agreed on?
Yes. That does indeed.
Great.
I'll just I'll go. I want to. Is Melga in the room, or Melga in the room, or has she?
Melga is in the room. Yeah, all the family are in the room.
Okay, Melga, do me one favor. I'm going to take this with quite some effort, remove a silver ring from my finger and like kind of parcel it up in a bit of kind of torn fabric. You take that to the guards. If there's a man called if there's a man by the name of Dirac there, tell him I'm calling in the favor and we need help. If there isn't, just show them that. They'll know you're coming from here.
Melga, who's kind of quite pale, nods and says, thank you, and kind of tucks it into one pocket. So outside, the horses are kind of are being saddled. It's quite quick work because Mangold is doing it. He's kind of like keeping the horses calm by patting the side of the neck with one massive hand and kind of hauling the harness and the tack onto them. So while this is going to kick off, where are Stio and Ephenea going to be?
I think, for me, for me personally, I believe that for now, Ephenea is going to kind of recuperate for maybe an hour or so, because we have at least that. But closer to the time that we think the goblins are going to possibly start coming through, position herself by the gate, because while she doesn't believe she could take on perhaps like Ashfaru or like the or Nightblade, she doesn't think she'll struggle with the goblins.
Sure.
So she's going to like kind of position herself by the gate just in case any manage to get through.
Sure.
I am going up to the bargain palisade, I think we discussed last week.
Yeah, gatehouse.
Yeah, the gatehouse and the little kind of thread of higher level wall space. Not so much patrolling, but kind of doing the whole last third shift gate guard thing where I'm just going to hunch myself over in a bit of cover and kind of...
Sure. And that way you can kind of keep an eye on
what
kind of occurs.
Yeah,
there we go. There's a nice map.
Perfect, good shot. Just doing watch duty basically for the next couple of hours.
Sure. Okay, so Cauldra and Tandrag kind of make sure that everything is secured on the horses, and kind of lead the horses over to the gate. Cauldra and Tandrag share a kind of last moment talking to Melga, and then Cauldra turns to you, Anton, and says, "Are you sure about this?"
I'm not that sure, but I don't see what choice we have. This is just something we've got to do.
Cauldra kind of nods grimly and says, "Well, Prios bless you."
Prios bless you too.
Up on top of the gatehouse, Nefa, who's the next oldest of the children, she's about 11, kind of hauls on the mechanism to open the gate, and as soon as it's kind of even remotely wide enough for the horse, Melga kind of kicks her heels back and the horse bolts straight out of the gate. Anton, I take it you're doing the same.
Yeah, following straight after, but obviously turning southwest, I think you said, turning the opposite direction, and I'm definitely going to give a big "yeah" to the horse, and make sure I'm getting their attention. Yeah, and then kind of like, I guess, kind of starting to swing around the palisade in like a nice wide loop, but not too close to where I think the goblins are or where the or Red Mist is.
Sure. The patch of woodland is kind of to the southwest, but it's definitely further out than you need to do a kind of wide circle of the palisade. So you'll be going kind of towards them, but not among them or anything like that. As you kind of kick out, you hear a great kind of a hue and cry go up from both the goblins out by Ashvaru's cauldron, and you hear some cries from ahead of you as you're kind of rounding your horse and heading at first along the road, sort of southwest. You can't see that well because the speed of being on the horse and the darkness makes it quite difficult. Can you give me either a cunning or a vigilant roll? It'll be a straight up cunning roll, or you know what? Actually, I think it's fine to be either way. Just a straight up cunning or a straight up vigilant roll to basically turn the horse off the road to start circling around the palisade at the best kind of opportunity to do so.
I make it.
Great. Which did you use out of curiosity?
I used vigilant.
I mean,
higher.
I say out of curiosity, but it's going to be part of the narration. You basically have, from the point where you're on the gatehouse kind of checking out, you noted that there is kind of a break in the bushes just off to the southwest of the palisade, and you quickly kind of sharply turn your horse to burst through that gap and go round the underbrush and round the palisade. As you do so, you do feel kind of wind and a whistle as some things pass your body quite sharply. Can you give me a defense roll? So they've got a flat accuracy. So, but I'm going to give you a bonus for being on the horse and traveling at speed, and let's call that a +4. So a defense roll at +4, please.
Okay. Yeah, I roll 5. My defense is 5, so yeah, I think I'm okay.
You've
right?
made it.
Yeah.
You kind of like weave a bit in the saddle, and you feel at least one. Literally, you feel the wind of it on your ear, and you hear even though the sound of the horse, you can hear the kind of sharp as it slams into the wall of the palisade. But after a couple of seconds, it stops, and you're kind of past and through. I take it you're kind of like riding around the palisade, kind of. The moon is out, the stars are out, so that you can see it quite well, and just going around the back until you can see, presumably, where the rope is being lowered.
Yeah.
Sure. So, Ascarai, I'm not going to make you make a roll to be lowered down a rope down the back of the palisade. Sugarwood kind of
down the rope. Can I try to shapeshift into a goblin, into the appearance of a goblin?
Does it allow you to change your form? It may well do.
Yes. I studied this because I wanted to play one. It allows you to shapeshift into anything, but not specific things. So not that goblin.
It's not that goblin. Not yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it says
novice. Cool. Yeah, sure. Do you want to do? I mean, are you doing that in front of the others?
I think I would do it.
Or are you going to wait until you get to the bottom of the rope? So I'd say it's quite a quick roll to make, or even once you're among the trees with Shuglud. It's up to you. These are just.
I think what I'd like to do is do it in front of the others, but with my mask on.
Oh, that won't make a difference.
Okay.
Yeah,
you're getting
you're
shorter.
turning into a goblin. You're turning short. You're going short.
I'll still go for that. I'll just do it in front of the others.
Okay, fair enough. Are you doing it kind of on the palisade?
Yeah, just before I go down.
Okay, that's actually just in front of Cauldron Tandragon, basically.
Cool.
And Shuglud, obviously. Yeah, sure. Do you have to make a roll for it?
I do. I have to roll against Resolute. It's not an easy roll, but maybe might work.
Sure. Go for it.
I make it by 1.
Okay. So, kind of Cauldron and Tandrag are kind of heaving the rope over, and they kind of glance over and kind of double take, and Tandrag kind of clutches a talisman around his neck and says, "Prios teeth."
Never seen a changeling before.
He shakes his head. Shuglud kind of peers at you and says, "One of those," and climbs over hauls himself over the palisade on the rope, and Cauldron kind of reels it down and holds it braced. Kind of, she's holding it with one foot kind of braced against the palisade, and Tandrag's behind her holding onto the rope.
I just hand Cauldron my mask, say, "Look after this for me," and head down the rope.
Okay. As you kind of get to the bottom, Anton, you can see 2 figures in the dark kind of clambering down the rope at the back. I take it you're going to ride over there?
Yeah, just ride over there, pull up fast, and yeah.
Okay. They're 2 goblins. One of them is Shuglud.
So, Shuglud, what's happened? Who changed the plan? Is this another member of your tribe?
Shuglud kind of shakes his head, laughs under his breath, and says, "I'm not getting involved in this."
It's me, Masquerade.
I think my mouth would just hang open for a while.
You'll certainly have heard of changelings. You've probably encountered some of them, or at least seen them in the street more often than not, begging or kind of up to slightly nefarious stuff. But you've probably never really interacted with one before, especially in the south of Ambria. But you do know they can change shape.
Ascarai. It's Ascarai. It's you.
That's right.
This land is stranger than I thought. Okay, I the cogs turn, and I think Anton sort of slightly understands why Ascarai's done that, and why it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'll just sort of pat him on the back, and I will quickly make towards the rope. Sure.
You are hauled up. Cauldron kind of pulls you over the top and says, "Thank you. It looks like my daughter got away."
Yeah, I think it worked. They definitely noticed me, and I don't think they noticed her.
Okay. Ascarai, could you make me a cunning roll?
Yep. Okay. I did not make it.
Okay, that's fine.
It's not fine.
No.
So, Shuglud is kind of like sneaking along the underbrush, kind of going. He's going the opposite way than Anton came because they're probably going to chase him, right?
I will follow close behind, and also since he would know better the right direction to head,
Sure.
I'll just stick as close to him as possible.
Sure. Can you give me a discreet roll, please, at +2?
Okay.
1 for just looking like a goblin, and 1 for it being dark anyway.
I make it.
Okay. You kind of both scramble around, and you come out of the bushes on the other side of the palisade, on the road, kind of halfway between where Ashfaru is on the south field with the cauldron, and it halfway. Oh no, sorry, that would be the southwest side. So no, sorry, you're on the road to the northeast, and to the southwest is everything: the enclosure, the south field with the cauldron in, and the goblins working away in the copse further to the south. west. Shuggle kind of glances at you and says, well, what are we going to do? Who are we going to go for?
I don't think we know where the woman is, so best to head after the witch first.
Okay. If the members of my tribe knew what was good for them, they'd let us kill him. But he's brewing up that wild chew. I can't promise that they won't fight on his behalf.
Well, I think it seems like this is never the best plan, but it's all we've got. So we try to take him out quickly and hope for the best.
Sure. All right. He starts kind of scrambling off across the field, sort of hunched over, and not really trying to hide himself, but trying to be unobtrusive, you know?
Yeah, I would do the same. That seems like our best bet for getting close without raising suspicion.
Sure. So, John, can you knock Sam off for me? Off the stream, not, don't hire a hit. You guys, Ephania is recovering by the fire, as far as I'm aware. Steo, are you kind of patrolling the walls in general?
No, I'm trying to be a bit in cover and not obviously moving around, but trying to definitely guard otherwise.
Okay. And Anton, now that you're back in the enclosure, what are you getting up to?
I'll check on both of these guys and make sure that they're comfortable and well healed. And then I think I will pray at the shrine, knowing that there's probably some bad stuff coming on the horizon.
Sure. Steo, give me a vigilant roll, please.
Vigilant, is it?
It is.
Oh boy, that's trash. I made it! Hey! Got a 9 and got an 8.
Nice. You hear some voices. At the moment, everyone else is either milling around the center or in the inn or various places. You are the only one kind of on the gatehouse and palisade. You hear some voices from behind the back enclosure, around where the rope was.
And the rope's been pulled up at this stage, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cauldron and Tandrug have gone back inside the inn.
Just checking to see what my discreet is, if I even want to make my discreet is 5. I know I'm not a stealthy person.
You'll get significant bonuses if you want to creep up around the top of it, because they can't. If you crept up on the palisade, like they couldn't see you all the way around and stuff. So, okay, I'd even say basically you can get up to them and hear them, but then you'd have to make a discreet roll for like actions, them not realizing you're there for a long while. If you see what I mean.
Okay. So I'm going to go eavesdropping. Basically, I don't want to cause any.
Okay, sure. So I'll get let's do what you get even without the roll, and then you can make the roll to see if they notice you eavesdropping for a while. You can hear a couple of voices down there. You think they're goblins. They've got a kind of jittery note to their voice, which suggests, the effects of this wild chew. And one of them is going, a horse right here. It ran off, but it was right here, just stood there. I think it was the one that priest was riding. The other one goes, why is he round here? Did they lift him up? And the other one goes, if they lifted someone up, someone else could have come down. Can you roll discreet at +5?
Okay. That's a 50-50 chance, friendos on the internet.
You got this. I believe in you.
You got this.
Nice.
There we go. The second one goes, must tell master and mistress. They'll know what to do. Look for them, gut them, kill them. They both kind of dash off into the underbrush.
Can I gauge
And that was
their
what the cunning roll was for Ascarai, because the horse was still there.
Yeah. Oh, because he didn't slap the thing.
Didn't slap the horse.
Okay, so can I get the direction they're going into? And do we have enough light to make good archery shots at this time?
They're both running round kind of the direction where Anton came from.
Right.
Well, you probably could fire some shots at them, but you would estimate right now that by the time Cauldre is the one with the bow, because Ascarai's gone.
Yeah.
By the time you went and got Cauldre, they'd be long gone.
They'd be long gone.
It's not that big, it's it'll be a nice place to live and a fairly hefty living space, but it's not a massive structure, and they're scampering pretty fast. So probably not.
Fucking fuck. I'll go back to the gatehouse then. There's not much I can do with that information. Is Antom down? Can I still see Antom at the...
Let's say you can see Antom kind of wandering out of the inn after checking on Ephanea and kind of walking towards the shrine.
I'm going to give him a kind of shout. Antom, not that there's anything we can do about it, but can you let the others know that I think Ascarai and Shuglud got rumbled?
Okay. I'll tell them. How do you know this?
There were some goblins poking around here. They found the horse.
Oh, the horse. Of course.
Of course.
That was not intentional. Okay. I will. I'll gather everyone together and tell them we may need to change the plan.
I'm going to resume my guard post position.
Okay. Right. Let's get rid of this lot and bring on Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hey.
In what general direction you're going towards Ashfaru and the Cauldron, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As you get closer towards him, can you give me? Basically, what I want from you is a discreet roll, so that he kind of doesn't notice you approaching, particularly. Like he's not going to go intruders, but just so he doesn't notice.
Okay.
What's going on. So if you give me a discreet roll against his vigilance, which is not great. It's really not great. He is a big fan of using his own product. It's a discreet at +5. So
okay, I should.
Vigilance is definitely his dump stat.
I do get that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you approach without much problem at all, both you and Shuglud. Now that you're closer, you can see it. Like it's definitely the witch, the same kind of male witch from earlier is this Ashfaru. He's kind of with one hand, he's kind of like feverishly running it and pulling at his beard while he adds things to this cauldron, which is giving off a kind of a sickly, spicy smell, and the red mist is kind of like overflowing over the edges of it. And now that you're closer as well, you can see that the cauldron itself looks quite unusual. It's a sort of blackened iron that has some odd symbols you're kind of unfamiliar with over it, but some of them kind of remind you of symbols you've seen on ruins in Davakar. So perhaps it's some kind of relic of some sort.
Yeah.
There are goblins kind of around him. There's about 6 of them, and they're mostly kind of like staggering around, taking great lungfuls of the wild chew fog that's rolling off this cauldron, and occasionally kind of scampering away or scampering back. They're not kind of with it, but they also look fairly predisposed to violence. They're kind of, if they get near each other, they kind of shove each other away. And
Is there any sign of Nightblade?
No, there's no sign of Nightblade.
None at all. Okay.
No.
I will turn to Shuglad and just say, do you think you can get close enough? Perhaps I can take a shot and then we just go all in for the witch.
Shuglad kind of nods and says, I think if we get rid of him quick, and it has to be quick, I think I could put something in that cauldron that'll help us. And I think my brothers and sisters won't attack me. I can't say anything about you.
Well, if it comes to it, I can make a run back to the fort or something, but as long as we get this witch, we should have some chance at least.
All right, then. All right.
Get as close as you can and let me know when you're ready.
I mean, just speculatively, how would he do that?
I guess it would be difficult without drawing too much attention. But
he says, well, I tell you what, wait till I'm close and then fire a shot at him.
All right. Good luck.
Okay. You see Shuglad kind of like wandering forward. He wanders near the red mist, but kind of not into it, just around the edges of it, kind of almost pantomime, kind of going. He's not a very good actor, but it seems to be good enough to good enough for the other goblins and good enough for Ashfaru, who's lost in whatever preparations he is making. Shuglad kind of staggers around and then wheels and kind of takes a couple of paces. He's a couple of paces behind Ashfaru now, and he's still reeling around, but you see his hands kind of going down to his short swords and just like sliding them partly out of the scabbards.
Okay. I am going to draw an arrow, and I'm going to draw the weird arrow that came from the elf. I don't know what it does. I just know it's different. But
okay, that's cool. Okay. I'd forgotten about that, but that's cool. I like that. Okay. Cool / oh god, where's the rules? But that's fine. That's all good. That's interesting.
Spot or anything?
No, it's all good. So first, I guess we better see if you make the damn roll, right?
Yeah.
Because this is a ambush, it'll be you're doing this at an advantage. So that'll give you a +2 on your attack roll, and nice. A +1 d4 to any eventual damage. His defense is just a flat 0. So I guess you need 17 or less to hit him. You know what? I'm actually going to give you another +1 because he's standing really quite still and he's framed very well against the kind of night sky, and you've got plenty of time to kind of slowly take aim. So you know what? Have a +3.
Okay.
If you 19 or 20 now, then it'll be hilarious. But,
I rolled a 7, luckily.
There we go. Wonderful. Okay. Can you give me your damage roll, and don't forget to add the +d4 for the surprise attack.
It's going to be a d10 and a d4. I got 5.
5 in total.
Yep.
Okay. That is over his pain threshold. Do you want an immediate extra attack on him, or do you want him to be knocked prone?
I think an immediate extra attack seems good, since we're trying to finish him off as soon as possible.
Sure, that sounds good. So give me that extra attack. I'd say because he's reeled back, he's a slightly moving target now. So I'm going to say this is just a flat roll with no pluses.
I rolled a 5, so I make it.
Great. So that's just your normal D10 then, please.
Okay. I rolled a 6.
Okay. So, what was your original damage on him? 5, did you say?
Yeah.
I've messed up here, Sam. I've messed up. That didn't take him over his pain threshold. Sorry, I forgot to apply his armor like a chump. So sorry to get you so excited there, and I am well aware the other players will be sat there going, "Oh my god, no!"
Nearly.
But it was unfortunately soon enough after that we can retcon that second arrow never existed.
Okay.
So unfortunately, yeah. So that leaves him with that much damage, that much toughness rather. But let's have a brief look at the effects of this arrow, which I believe I can find quite simply and straightforwardly by finding the right cheat sheet for that last story. But while I do that, we need to enter initiative, right? So, John, can you rack us up the initiative for Askarai and Ashfaru and some goblins? Don't worry about Shugled. I'll just put him in at the end, as I do all the time with kind of NPCs on people's sides. That is that the... Where is the elf? There's the elf. Yeah. I didn't write it down. How handy is that? Pretty handy. I'll take a look at it in the book. So it's Askarai first, then the goblins, then Ashfaru. So it turns out, you know what? you get that attack anyway, right?
All
so
right,
we'll just use that roll you just did. We'll just use that roll you just did. So what was the damage you rolled on that?
The damage was 6.
The damage was 6. Okay. So that's that much damage to him, and I'll tell you the results of all this in a second. I just kind of desperately want to find this this effect. And I'll do that as quickly as I possibly can. You threw me for a loop in a wonderful way there. There we go. Okay, yeah. There we go. Did we decide? I can't remember. We talked about it in the kind of prologue session. How like poison should armor be applied to poison damage? I can't remember. I can't remember how that works. If anyone in chat knows, or one of our fellow players in our private Symbaroum here know, then please do shout out. But regardless, your first arrow took Ashfaru kind of in the side of his chest, and he kind of reeled back, suddenly wailing at the top of his voice and clutching at the arrow. And as you knocked and loosed a second arrow, you hear a voice coming, shouts loudly, kind of further behind you, nearer the inn. You hear a voice shout, "There, with a bow, a bow!"
Uh-oh. I would spin around to look at what this is.
Sure. And that could be your movement action, right? There are a couple of goblins kind of scampering towards you from the direction of the inn. They're coming right at you. Like they seem to know that something's up, and also they probably just seeing you fire a couple of arrows into Ashfaru. So there's that. The goblins are next. And you know what? These goblins, they're very drugged up. They're confused. They are going to take this round to comprehend what's happening and just kind of look between you, look at Ashfaru, kind of Shugled's there, kind of behind Ashfaru. They're not doing anything. They're just kind of out of it. And you know what? Can you give a discrete roll at a -1, please?
Okay.
You're rolling discrete against their vigilant.
I rolled a 1.
you're. I mean, I would express how that has kind of criticaled by having one of the goblins go, "That's definitely a goblin," but it doesn't seem like the kind of thing they'd say. But safe to say, you have hoodwinked them thoroughly, and none of them are even pondering the idea that you might be a shapeshifter.
Nice.
Yeah, poison is not affected by armor. So, on Ashfaru's turn, he's going to kind of reel back, give out a kind of odd noise, and the very last bit of that, a spray of some virulent green fluid comes out of his mouth and kind of sprays over the top of the, over the top of the cauldron. And he just kind of reels back, clutching at his throat, and crashes onto the ground. A very brief glimpse of his face as he hits the ground indicates that he was dead before he hit the ground. And it was not a good death. You're very glad now you were not hit by that arrow.
Yes. Also very glad I picked it up.
Yeah. But shall we say that this brief kind of exhalation of green mist has now settled on top of the cauldron and on top of the fluid in the cauldron? Because that's a really interesting thing to have happened, isn't it? And the red mist starts turning green.
I don't know whether this is really... This seems really bad. Now, the more I think about it, the worse this seems.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it? You know what? Let's have another round before we go back to the others. Shuglud is kind of like dashing over to the cauldron and kind of goes to go near it, and he's got some like ingredients, and he's kind of trying to reach over to put it in the cauldron, but he gets like just a brief mouthful of the green mist, and he reels back, kind of coughing and hacking, and kind of basically he's backing away at full speed. He can't get near it. The goblins inside the mist that's turning green are not having a good time. They're coughing and hacking. One of them's on the floor, kind of like, hurling up the contents of its stomach violently on the grass. So that's a thing. That's a thing that's happening. Let's go back to the beginning of the round. So it's you first. You've got two goblins kind of charging at you across the field. You don't think they'll get to you in this round, but they certainly will in the round afterwards. The goblins in the green mist seem distracted and or maybe dying, and Shuglud doesn't seem to be of much help. He did just get the briefest of breaths of this mist, but he's definitely the worse for wear.
Okay. All I can think is that I've really messed this up for Shuglud. Like, this is okay. With these two running at me, I guess I can be fairly confident they're coming to fight. And
oh yeah, they've got their blades out and they're coming right at you. They're also wailing and screaming for others to come.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot them. I'll just
sure. Okay. So yeah, Goblin 1 and Goblin 2, right? Give me a. Again, these are the rolls against the goblins, right? You just need to not roll 20 to not fumble.
I rolled a 17, but that'll do.
That will do. So give me just a regular old damage roll, please.
Rolled a 2.
Rolled a 2. Your arrow pings off the lead one's crow armor. So that's no help.
Can I move I don't want to move right next to the cauldron, but I want to move towards Shuglet a bit.
Yeah, you can kind of retreat behind where the cauldron is and kind of scramble over and be. You're not quite at Shuglet, but you're kind of moving back. This is moving you directly away from Jackad's Heart, from the inn.
Okay.
But yeah, you can kind of try and retreat and get a bit more distance from them.
Yeah.
The goblins' turn. Those two are coming right for you with another movement action. They'll be on you. Yes. But not this turn. But you can see them kind of coming a lot closer, still screaming and wailing for help. The goblins in the mist are kind of, a couple of them are literally on the ground still. And a couple of them are kind of crawling out of it and hacking up their lungs on the ground. You don't know; they don't look like they're going to get up and fight you anytime soon. And another couple of them are kind of reeling around, clutching at their throats in the mist. Sorry, I'm just adding stuff to my goblin tally of deaded goblins. You know.
Okay.
So that's them. They're gone. Sure, that'll do. Yeah, and on that note, let's get rid of Sam and bring everyone else back, shall we?
Oops.
Well, that was certainly a time. You're on mute.
Wasn't it? Yeah, so I believe the last thing that was happening in there, F&A was in the inn, Steo was on the walls, and Antom was going to the shrine, but has decided to kind of call everyone together instead and come up with some kind of plan of some kind.
Yeah. We have a problem. We think that the goblins know that Ascarai has left the inn. We need to do something now. We need to act now.
Oh, so much for my plans. F&A will just kind of like wearily stand up with a little bit of effort, and grab her axe, and she'll be like, "Fine, let's rescue the archer guy, I guess." Has Anton relayed to us the whole? No. All right, cool. Yeah, so I'm just basically at this point assuming that we're just going to have to go and fight.
Sure.
I think we need to. Is it getting light yet? Are we able to see a little bit more?
You can see a little bit more, but it's still definitely night time.
Okay. Do we make a distraction again? Do we kind of draw them back over here? Draw the fewer goblins around Ascarai, the better.
All right. I mean, I can't particularly say I'm willing to risk my life for the masked wonder, but if we can protect this, is it a village? Would I call it a village? Or
holding.
Yeah. If I can protect this holding, I'd like to. There are kids here, and I don't want Melga to come home to find her house has been ransacked. So my plan, not that I have much of one, is that I just go out there and make a lot of noise. And you guys figure out what to do while I'm doing that.
Okay. So did you say that Steo's not with us now? He's still on the walls.
He's still on the walls, Steo.
Yeah.
Okay. While this talk is going on, Chris, give me a vigilant roll, will you? And feel free to add +2 to it.
Obviously, I'm assuming this is all kind of we've kind of gone back in time a little bit, as it were.
Yeah. You've rewound a little bit.
Yeah, I make it.
Okay. You hear a commotion out you're around the gatehouse anyway, so you can kind of see out on the south field, and you hear a kind of big commotion out there, and the red mist suddenly turns green. And you can hear some goblins running, going, "There with the bow! Quick, get him!"
Literally belly laughing.
So something is kicking off.
Is there like some kind of alert bell around here that I can like?
There is a bell, yes. Melga rang the bell, so
gotta give the bell a ding dong ding, get everyone out of the building.
Okay. Everyone dashes out,
and
Black Hawk's slower than the others,
and hopefully give the goblins something else to think about.
Sure.
Those that are thinking tactically. So, does anyone want to come up here and see the fireworks? Our boy Ascaris just set off.
All right, I will. Because I'm assuming like I've left the inn at this because I'm like, I mean, I was planning on leaving anyway, so I'll hear the bell and climb up to the top of the tower to join Steel.
Did you know he was an alchemist? What's going on over there? Pointing at the green smoke on the horizon, well, on the midfield.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is, the Rosas are coming.
Yeah, whatever it is, it looks like it's in our favor. So you know what? I might. He's okay, I guess.
Fine.
Still don't trust him, but he's okay now. But yeah, can you see him? Can we see him? Like in the
No, you can't really see what's going on over there. You just saw like the changing color. There's definitely some kind of commotion going on, and there's kind of some goblins rushing towards it. You can in fact see that there are some goblins now coming from the woodland where they're trying to create the like siege tools. They are also moving towards the cauldron now. Yeah.
Count them. Can I count them?
No, it's too dark to count.
Too dark. Okay. Cauldra. Do you reckon you could take some pot shots?
She's there with you.
Yeah. Do you reckon you could take some pot shots at those?
She nods and kind of starts taking careful aim and firing.
Right.
After about 30, 60 seconds of this, the goblins have started kind of like veering out of the way. And a couple of them are kind of lying still on the road with arrows in them.
Sticking out. Great.
She's running out of arrows, however.
Okay, so situation is we don't know what's going on over there. We don't know what's going on over outside these walls, and we don't know how many goblins are still standing between us and them. Prudence suggests we stay where we are and wait till we learn more. But now would probably be a good time to rove out and cause some chaos.
I agree. I mean, it looks like Ascarai's already... He's got them distracted at the very least. And whatever he's done to that brew, it's probably not going to be good for them. So I think now would be as good a time as any to go out and try and cut through the masses. Besides, my axe needs vengeance. Vengeance!
They were distracted by the bell ringing. Let's go.
Cauldra, can you close the door after us?
She says, yes, but what are you just trying to bring your companion back?
Just need to learn a few more of these unknowns, figure out what's going on out there. Looks like the majority of them are heading back over to the campfire now, so at least we got some open space between us and them. At least get a better view of it. She
nods and says, we'll keep watch for you.
We won't go far.
The gate opens slightly with a creak. And I take it the three of you are kind of drawing weapons and dashing out.
I'll suggest to Steel, I'll be like, so Steel, obviously Anton was the distraction before, but I think out of the two of us, because I imagine we're just a bit bigger and burlier, he's the most likely to find out something, whatever's going on. He's the most likely to be able to like sneak So I guess it's our turn to be a distraction. What do you say?
That's actually far more tactically sound than the ideas I had.
That's new. That's a first.
Good job. Yeah, but let's figure out what's going on first. I want to do a survey of the bushes where they were cutting stuff up to see if any goblins didn't, and I want those ones dead.
Sure. You kind of dash out of the gate. At the last moment before the gate shuts, another shape comes out and kind of straightening himself up with a spiked club kind of drawn. Black Hawk takes one last swig of a bottle of wine, tosses it into the bushes, and says, "Very well, we'll make our own songs."
Good job, Black Hawk. You may yet redeem yourself.
Come on, then. We can do this. You're not going to be very sneaky, so you stay with me and Steel. You stay with me and Steel.
Okay, so the idea is that the three of you, the kind of war party, are going to dash over to the woodland and see what progress they've made on the siege tools, while Anton sneaks off and tries to see what's going on with Ascarai and Sugarlord. Yes?
That's the plan.
Yep.
Yes?
Yep.
Okay.
Splitting the party again.
Yes. So they are very distracted at the moment. So can you give me a discreet roll? It's dark and they're very distracted. A discreet roll at +4.
At +4. So,
sorry, that's just Anton.
Oh.
I mean, you seem relieved that Mike has to roll a die. I'm not sure.
Guys, I've nailed it. Don't worry.
Hey,
Got this.
There we go. Okay. So, with that in mind, can you, John, take these guys away and give me Sam again? Hey, Sam.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, we're going straight back into your initiative. So it's your turn. These two goblins are almost on you. Sugarlord seems to be kind of shaking off the poison a bit now. He doesn't look that healthy, but he's definitely kind of aware and he's handling it now. The two goblins that were still alive in the mist have now keeled over dead. And the two that are kind of crawled outside the mist are just like lying on the ground, kind of. So none of the goblins that were originally by Ashfaru are going to be any problem at all.
How many were there?
There were 6 in the mist. 2 of them were dead before we came back to you. 2 of them have died, and two of the others have crawled out.
Okay.
But are in no fit state to fight.
Okay. I'm going to shoot at these ones charging me again. And
as they're coming at you, sure.
Then keep trying to back up towards
Absolutely. Well, it's a vigilant roll again for your firing, right? And again, it's a 20. 20 is the only way anything bad's going to happen. So.
Yeah, I rolled a 3.
Okay, give me a damage roll.
Please, good damage. Okay, I rolled a 10. Yay.
Aye, that's pretty good. So that is definitely over its pain value. Would you like another free attack, or would you like it to be knocked prone? If it's knocked prone, it'll take its entire turn to get back up.
I think the thing is,
I will say, you've hurt it quite a lot. Like the shaft is kind of coming out of its belly and it's already kind of like staggering forward. So it's pretty hurt.
I'm going to shoot it again.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. So that's just, again, another, Yeah. Are you keeping track of your arrows, by the way?
I am. I'm down to this. I had 11. I'm going to have 10 after this second shot.
Okay.
I started with 20.
Right, I see. I was going to say, what about the arrows in Ashfaru?
Yeah. I didn't start this session with 20, but I started
the No. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So another damage because I made this roll. For damage, I got another 10.
Another 10. Your second arrow, it kind of stumbles forward and then like looks up and screeches at you as it's carrying on, stumbling forward with a rusty axe in one hand, and the next arrow just takes it right between the eyes and it collapses to the ground, thoroughly dead.
Nice.
So and then you're backing up, did you say, as well?
Yeah, I'm backing up, trying to get closer to Shugblood.
Sure.
And hope he helps me. Even after
so it's definitely running for you, but to do so, it has to pass Shugblood, which means he gets a free attack on it, and he kind of lashes out and slashes deeply across its side with his short sword. But it doesn't really care, and it does reach you.
Okay.
So if you can give me a defense roll, please. Just a flat defense roll.
Okay. I need a 13.
Ooh, your defense is good.
I rolled a 14.
Oh, because you're vigilant. It's based on your vigilant, right? Yeah, and you don't have any armor, really. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry, did you make it or fail it?
I failed it by 1.
Oh, unfortunate. Can you give me an armor roll?
Yeah, I think that's just a D4. I rolled a 2.
Okay. It swings for you with a rusty dagger, and you kind of almost dodge it, and it almost gets caught in your cloak. But with a further thrust, it scores a deep line across your hip, and you feel the blade kind of scrape against your fiber, against your hip bone a little bit, which is not pleasant. Take 4 damage.
Oof. That is
Your pain threat equal to, which is good. It needs to be more than your pain threshold. So there we go.
Nice.
Well,
nice-ish.
As you can kind of hear that there are definitely some goblins coming over from where from the woodland now, but they're definitely coming slightly cautiously, and in the distance, back towards Jackad's Heart, you can hear the familiar sound of like, as you can hear arrows flying through the air from somewhere. So some kind of conflict is going on, and as you sort of pitch yourself further, kind of backpedal to try and get further away from this goblin, a more familiar and more welcome shape emerges from the darkness. Can we have Mike, please? Hello, Mike.
Hello.
So, I mean, I've said you emerged from the darkness, but what would you have stumbled on this scene essentially? And what would you be like? Would you stay in the darkness? I'm kind of speaking for you, but I'm kind of assuming you'd lunge out and try and crack this goblin with your. Have you got a mace? Is that what you've got?
Flail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A hell of a weapon for someone not that proficient with weapons to have.
Well, priest. Flail.
Yeah. Oh, right. I see.
Classic.
So, classic priest. Shout out to all the self-flagellating priests out there in chat. John's wonderfully added you to the initiative order. But if you are going to hit this goblin, you can absolutely try and get a surprise attack off first.
Let's do it.
So can you roll? I'm assuming it's accuracy for you. I don't think you've taken any abilities that switch your weapon roll.
It's just accuracy.
It's accuracy, and it'll be it's at +11 because it's a surprise attack and their defense is +9. So I'm assuming again it's going to be anything like only a 20 can fuck up.
Yeah, I did it.
Well, as in you rolled a 20?
No. I passed. I rolled 16.
Right.
But yeah, I did the maths wrong in my head to begin with, so I was just panicking for a second.
Fantastic. Can you? Yeah, give me a damage roll.
Okay. 4.
4. Okay. You're not sure you've done a terrible amount of actual damage to it because your flail kind of cracked along the broad of its back. And the thing's crow armor, although a couple of pieces fell off it, mostly took the hit. But as you kind of reel back for another blow, you can see like there is some blood at the back of its neck, so you think you caught it in some way, but you don't seem to have done much. But yeah, Askarai, Anton has emerged from the darkness and just thwacked the goblin very firmly along its back with his slightly terrifying-looking flail.
Never been so pleased to see a priest.
Please tell me you actually say that.
I definitely say that.
Yes. Okay. We'll go with Shuglud, who's going to... sorry, Mike. I forgot to say, because it's a surprise attack, you should have had an extra D4 damage on that.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
So give us a D4, a quick D4.
Even more flailing.
Even more flailing.
Flailing's what I do best. 4.
An extra 4. Okay. So slightly retconning that. It's definitely a firmer thwack. And what kind of flail is it, Mike? If you don't mind me testing your flail knowledge, are you thinking of like what people usually call a morning star, but which is actually a flail, like a chain with a spiked ball on the end of it? Or are you thinking more of something a bit more like it's literally just like a lot of heavy chains?
Yeah,
maybe with iron balls on the end of them.
Yeah.
So something you can potentially do to yourself and cause a little bit of damage, but if you properly heft it at someone, it's lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of heavy chains, iron balls on the end of them.
Yeah.
Nasty. Okay. The back of its head is covered in blood, which is kind of... so you thrashed it across the back, but the iron balls cracked the back of its head open. It, again, like the other goblins, it's not feeling it. But with one brief look at what you've done, you can see that, if someone came to you with this wound, you would be gearing up to deliver Prios's last rites. So you've done a fair amount of damage. And then Shuglud kind of darts in under where you smack with the flail, and kind of grabs the goblin around the back. And Askarai, as the goblin kind of arches back, you can see the end of Shuglud's short sword emerge from his chest in an eruption of blood. And as the creature dies, Shuglud just says quite quietly, "Forgive me, brother," and kind of tosses the body to the ground. He wipes the blood off on one of his kind of ragged trouser legs, turns around to look at the inn and kind of take in. You can kind of see the shadows of goblins starting to approach. There's definitely whoever was firing the arrows definitely held them up, but they're still coming towards you. And there's quite a lot of them. Shuglud kind of turns to both of you and says, "In?"
Definitely.
In.
Okay. He takes off across the field back towards the south. And I'm assuming you're both following him.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Can we have a total swap, please, John? Thank you. So, you guys, are you? You said you weren't being discreet, right? You were kind of like making your way, not trying to hide yourselves from the goblins, trying to provide a bit of a distraction.
Yeah, I for one, I'm going to enter, like, for when we inevitably have to go into initiative. I for one am going to be in Berserker Rage. So, like,
Sure.
I'll probably be. That was a good noise right there.
Sure.
That's my Berserker Rage noise.
Sure. So, From what you can see a great mass of the goblins running towards the cauldron. There's no goblins ahead of you on the road, and you're kind of moving towards this woodland. You can see that just outside of it, there are very rough ladders and a rough battering ram that are kind of being constructed. They are, well, tell you what, why don't you both give me a cunning roll?
Yeah, just a flat one.
Just a flat cunning roll, yeah.
All right. Yikes.
Oh, wow. Holy crap, I've made every roll tonight. Cunning, yeah.
So far.
First roll of the evening, and I will inevitably fail it because it's a 7 or less. Yep, failed.
Okay. Steo, you are moderately familiar with siege warfare and siege tools. These are extremely inexpertly made and will probably break partway through the process, but they'll likely also get the job done ultimately.
Okay. More to the point, are there any laggards? Have all the goblins moved to?
There are no laggards of goblins. But as you kind of approach the place where these are being constructed, emerging out of the shadows of the wood comes a tall, dark figure.
Of course we have to fight the boss. Of course we do.
We're both dead.
The injured people.
She is wearing kind of very well-made fortified chainmail that has been, in a slapdash fashion, painted black. But a lot of the paint is now peeling off, and the sort of dull iron and silver shines through. She is, or maybe was, human. Her blood red eyes are glowing in the dark as they stare at you with raw malice, and there is pus secreting from open wounds on her neck, and a waft of sulfur. The stink of sulfur comes off her in a wave as she emerges from the trees and turns to you with a hideous bone-like rattle. She draws a large two-handed blade and kind of adopts a fencing position with it, with a sudden oddly subdued roaring noise. The blade erupts in black flame.
So
we always get the bad ends, don't we, Steel?
Hey, we're not beyond bargaining for the water if you're not beyond reason.
Can you both roll resolve?
Goosed it, friendos. Absolutely no chance.
Yes, I made it.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that Black Hawk failed his resolute roll as well in my head.
Really?
Steo and Black Hawk, you find yourself taking involuntary steps backwards. Black Hawks are kind of panicked. Steo, you're a trained soldier. Yours are more kind of cautious. At various times in your life, in your campaigning, there have been moments where you felt death approaching. This is one of them. Elle, you're young and you're bold and you don't know any better. Behind you, back near where the gates are, you can hear voices, recognizable voices shouting, "We're here, we're back, open the gate." One of them is definitely Askarai's. Black Hawk behind you says, "I think the song can wait for another day."
Cheese it.
Ordinarily, I would chastise you for this. However, today, I will not. Let us run.
Okay. Can you all give me quick rolls, please?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
They will be at... Oh, they're just flat. They're flat. Oh, no, are they? They're at -1.
Still make it. Thank Christ.
No. I mean, it wasn't a fumble, but I don't make it.
You don't make it. Okay. That's fine. You Blackhawk makes it back and dashes straight into the gate. Steo, you know what? Bring everyone up. Everyone's dashing towards the gate now, right? So everyone could be in this scene. As you are all kind of at the gate, Blackhawk's already kind of dove into it. And Ascarai, you are well aware of what's happening. This apparition of a woman is hot on the heels of Ephenea, and is running towards you. You can take in kind of the eyes, the wounds that don't seem to have healed, the flaming black blade. Everyone can do a thing, but you have one action. So if you're not Ephenea can't. Ephenea is still running. So basically, you can't. She's not close enough to hit. So Steo, Antom, and Ascarai, what are you doing? I'll ask Ascarai first because I know Ascarai will be first in the initiative order. So what is Ascarai doing? I mean, I suspect I know what Ascarai will
do. This thing is close enough to shoot.
Oh, she's close enough to shoot. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot her.
Okay. Give me her defense is flat, so it's a flat roll.
Okay. I did not make it.
That's rough chuckles right there. Who's next in our normal initiative order? Steo, I think. Steo, what are you doing?
Ephenea is not going to make it, I assume.
She's going to get caught. You know what though? You have a long weapon.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Actually, I'll let you give a thrust.
Yep, let's do it. I'm going to try and protect Ephenea. Here we go. Oh! Hello, YouTube, internet, poggers, deploy the poggers.
Do you want to get another attack, or do you want to knock her prone?
Yeah, I'm gonna think about that for a second. Knock her prone.
Okay. With one kind of you're not sure if her hands have talons or it's the gauntlets she's wearing, but it's what her free hand is literally inches from the back of Ephenea's neck. When you whirl round, you were going to dash in the gate, but you look over your shoulder at the last minute, and with one thrust of your halberd, it doesn't. No, you should roll damage. Roll damage.
I can't even do this anymore. 1d10. Whew. 7. That's respectable.
Nice.
So with one thrust of your halberd, basically it's more that you catch her neck in the crook of the halberd where the blade isn't so sharp, but the blade of it kind of clangs on the top of her armor there of the fortified kind of plated chainmail, and it sends her kind of reeling back. Like she's riding a bike and it's gone over a rope or something. With a coughing cry, she kind of reels back, doesn't fall completely, kind of catches herself on one arm, and is immediately has swung her blade round to guard against anyone kind of coming at her, but it's given you enough time to have everyone dash into the gate if that is what you want. Beautiful. Steo for the save. Anton, I mean, you don't have to do anything now, Anton, and I'm assuming you're rushing into the gate with everyone else.
Yeah, if we're going to have a bit of time, I'll just get into the gate with everyone.
Okay. You all dash into the gates and kind of, various of you, I guess, kind of collapse on the ground, and the gates crash together, and a moment later there's a very loud on the outside of the gate, and a voice that doesn't seem entirely human shrieks, "I'll have all your blood!"
No interest in the water, then.
I've got a lot to spare right now. Maybe I could just put it in a vial, throw it over. She'll be happy with that, right?
Cauldra, could I trouble you if there's enough time for an ale?
Cauldra kind of looks down from the gatehouse and says, "I think we can spare that." Sandros, she calls across at like the older boy who's about 7, and again pale-faced, he kind of nods and rushes into the inn.
I'm going to find a patch of earth if there is nothing to actually sit on, and I'm going to sit on it for a while.
I'm gonna tend to Askarai's wounds because I think he
Yes,
picked up a wound.
you can do. Yes, you can do that
because he's a different character, right?
Yes, as you do, Shuglud is kind of like lying on the ground by the gate, kind of staring into the sky, and any of you who are kind of close enough to notice will see he's kind of crying slightly and just repeating over and over under his breath, "Fuck me, fuck me, fuck me." He doesn't seem entirely happy with how things went. And of course, only really, Anton, you probably noticed the dead goblins in the green mist, but I guess you don't know exactly what happened, and Steo and Ephania definitely don't. How did that healing roll go, Mike?
Well, I was just going to ask about that actually, like, because just to build up the suspense, like, I guess it's only a reason for me to use Medicus if Ascarai lost some points of toughness. So did he, or did he just his pain?
You did, right? Ascarai, you took 4 points of damage. Yeah, he did.
Okay, sure.
I would also change back into a changeling before, just once we...
Sure, kind of as you burst through the gate, maybe the deception.
Yeah.
Or maybe as you were running, because you can probably run faster as in your true form than as a shorter goblin, right?
So can we assume that everyone on the team now knows Ascarai's
they definitely do, because he does not have his mask. And we'll let the healing roll go, and then Ascarai can tell us what he looks like under the mask. Mike. Yeah,
I did it.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Are you using one of the herbal cures? Because I obviously, like, you might want to, you might not want to, because I think you roll. What do you roll normally? A D4.
Oh, a D4, yeah.
And because he's taken 4 damage, I don't know if you want to use it up and roll these things. I don't know what you want to do.
I think they need to be saved for Steo and Ephania. So yeah, I'll just roll
a D4 it is then.
Just roll a D4. And 3.
Great. Nice. There we go. He gets there where it counts. On the lightly wounded member of the party. Heal 3 points of toughness. You basically find that although it's a deep wound, it hasn't like kind of hit anything vital, and it's quite easily packed full of herbs and bandaged up. So it's more of a flesh wound now than anything else.
I just want to point out that earlier it was stated that I had no idea what was going on over by the fire. I want to point out that Steo knows exactly what went on by the fire, but it's probably a little bit more awesome than what actually went on by the fire.
Sure, yeah. He's certainly aware that something went on. Okay, that's a good point from John. The shape-shifting is an illusion, Michael. Which means he would travel at the same speed regardless, because you're not actually changing shape. You are projecting like the illusion of changing shape. So, regardless, what does Ascarai look like under that mask?
Well, he looks fairly similar to like the elf that was seen previously. He basically has kind of very pale, kind of gray skin, and very sharp elven features, but with assuming his hood is also down at the moment.
Sure.
Just cut, very short hair, just raggedly cut. Since why not?
Sure. You want to pop up if you got that picture of the elf handy? I know it's not exactly like Askarai, but do you want to pop it up, John? If you can do that.
Oh boy!
Just so we can remind everyone what kind of elves look like, and to a certain degree, changelings, they look a little more human than elves, but not by much. Yeah.
They're creepy.
There we go. Yes.
So creepy.
So kind of very smoothed features. In fact, a lot of the non-humans in Symbaroum have those kind of smoothed features to a certain degree or other. The elves most of all, but the ogres and the goblins kind of do as well. Thank you, John. That's very handy. Okay. Cauldra kind of slumps down and sits on the edge of the gatehouse with her legs kind of dangling over and says, "So what happened?"
Well, the witch is dead. The cauldron, the drugs, I think they're poisoned. A lot of the goblins died, or a few at least.
Sugarload says, "We had to do it, didn't we? I mean, we had to do it."
We did.
Look, I don't know what to tell you, lad. It doesn't get easier, but I've been through something similar.
It was them or
more to the point, what are we going to do about that spectral thing stalking outside?
Sugarload says she won't stop now. She thinks this water is the only way to cure whatever's wrong with her. And I've seen her kill many for far less.
I mean, it's not often that things can outrun me or intimidate me, and there's something different about her. I mean, obviously, she's dead. I do not wish to face off against her anytime soon. I don't know that we'd come out alive.
I've seen evil like that eat whole battalions. Don't want to see it again. I think we just need to keep her out as long as we can and pray we get relief from the city.
Let's barricade ourselves in. Take everything we can.
Cauldra kind of has jumped down now and is kind of like she's gone back, and the boy Sandros is kind of has brought drinks out for everyone.
Oh, you are the best thing that's happened to me in literally like 52 hours. Thank you, child.
Okay. Are there any specific plans that are being done, or one thing that I remember was interrupted was Anton wanted to pray at the shrine. But is anyone else immediately doing anything else, or are you? I mean, what are you doing? Is anyone shoring up the gate? Is anyone?
Once I have my tankard or vessel in hand, I'll pull myself back up the guard post and try and get a bead on. Which again, being super careful to keep as much cover as possible.
Okay.
I want to immediately start. I want to neck a pint. I just want to neck a pint and immediately start trying to reinforce any defenses that we have.
So is that, sorry, Steo, did you also say, so essentially are you both kind of trying to see what you can do about the defenses?
No, I'm going back on watch.
You're going back on watch. FNA is going to start looking at the defenses. Askarai?
I think first I'd like to talk to Shuglad about this drug, since basically with the idea I can't imagine they can kind of redose. So
Sure.
How long are they going to be like
Sure.
this? Is there a chance to get some kind of reprieve in that way?
And Anton, did you want to pick up your shrine plan?
Yeah, and then probably help shore up the defenses.
Sure. I think it's one of those things where as a player you're like, oh well, that won't help. I better do. But I guess Anton it would think it would help to go pray. So yeah, okay. Let's go through those one by one then. So Steo, you've just gone back on watch. And we'll cover these not massively in depth, but kind of briefly. Well, one of them we'll cover in depth, but we'll get to that one last. Steo, give me a vigilant roll.
Oh, I am going to screw this one up, friendos. I've had too many good rolls tonight. Yeah, that's a whiff. That was 14, and I think my vigilance is like 7.
Fair enough. Yeah, you even though kind of dawn is lightening the edge of the sky now, it's quite difficult to see with the green mist, and there's a lot of hue and cry going on out there, a lot of goblins shouting. You hear Nightblade's voice briefly, but you're not sure what she said. And at least a few of the goblins seem to be going back to work on the siege tools, but you can't really comprehend much more than that. Ephenea, can you give me a cunning roll, please?
I can indeed. Nope.
Nope. You're kind of scrambling around and looking at trying to find spare wood or big rocks or anything like that. You're not sure you're making any progress with it, but you're looking and you're trying. Ascarai. So go ahead. Ask your questions of Shugled.
Shugled, do you think without being able to use that whatever it was anymore in the cauldron, some of your friends, your tribe will see reason? Will they stay under her influence?
I don't know. The wild shoe, it can last hours. He reaches into kind of his inner ragged jacket and pulls out some odd kind of little, what look like little like mashed blue bits of some kind of fungus or herb, and says, I was going to try and put these in the cauldron. It brings you down off the chew.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
It's not your fault.
The way we planned.
It's not your fault. I just have to hope that some of them come to their senses before she breaks through the gate.
Perhaps if we can bring her down first, the others will.
I think if we can kill her, they've got no reason to want. I don't know. They'll be berserk. We'll just have to hope, I suppose, and do what we can.
Yeah, I'll do my best to.
Thank you for risking your life.
Well, thank you for trying to help us as well.
Okay. Over at the shrine. Anton, you're knelt. I don't know how a follower of Prios particularly prays, but let's assume it's roughly equivalent to something familiar. You're perhaps knelt in front of the shrine itself is a very rough kind of little stone stand with just a carved stone sun placed on top of it for you to pray at. Can you give me you've kind of been knelt there for a few minutes, kind of saying your presumably reciting the prayers inside and out that you've said 1,000 times. Can you give me a vigilant roll, please? And we'll give it a plus. Give it a +2.
Don't make it.
Okay, that's fine. Then it comes as a surprise to you when a very large hand gently touches your shoulder.
I'll turn around with a start, just being quite twitchy because of everything that's happened in the last 48 hours.
Mangold is kind of stood over you, kind of hunched over to almost kind of be on your level with his long, rangy, kind of grey limbs. He up this close now, you can see that like most ogres, he doesn't kind of have any hair. He's bald, and his features have that odd slick smoothness to them that ogres have, with 2 large pointed ears. He kind of leans over kind of close to you and kind of looks around a little bit and reaches into the folds of his kind of long, plain robe and gets out an old bottle and holds it out towards you. He flicks a cork out of the top of it and kind of wafts it in front of your face, and a very sweet, slightly fiery smell comes out. He kind of reaches out one large hand and points at the pool and gestures with the bottle, and then turns and points at his garden. The garden full of extremely tall, well-grown, and almost oddly supernaturally fertile plants.
Okay. Does the smell remind me of anything? Does it
It's Water of the Dusk.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Before you take an action, wait a week or so, because we're wrapping up there. That seems an appropriately exciting revelation for us to wrap up there. So there we go. The Ogre Mangold clearly has more in his possession than just a trowel.
And my eternal love.
And your eternal love. Everyone's eternal love. Everyone likes Mangold.
Definitely.
As usual, we'll wrap up with a couple of things. We'll wrap up with some questions and comments from anyone in the chat who wants to throw anything at us. If you pop things in there now, John will compile them and throw them our way if there's anything. We will talk about the rules module that we proposed at the beginning, and then I'll do the usual promotion and whatever stuff at the end. So first off, that rules module, spending XP to get rerolls on rolls. I'm going to go ahead and assume that our players have a resounding yes on this.
I would like that, because if it wasn't for like Steele's nat 1, I feel like FNA would be dead. That'd be the end.
Quite possibly.
I would actually vote no, because I am a jealous guardian of my experience.
But then you don't have to spend it.
Yeah, true. But I also want to stop anyone else from having fun.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. Mike and Sam, what are your thoughts on it?
Go ahead,
sorry,
Mike.
go on, Sam.
Okay.
Over to you.
I think I kind of feel like it's something that should be put in at the same time as the deadlier deaths, if we're doing that. Just because, having it be, I feel like you could kind of just keep spending experience and always just avoid death, and it will slow your progress.
Sure. But that's why you put limits on it, with the you can't use it on death rolls and stuff like that. So
I don't know. I'm not complete. I think it's one I need to think about. I'm not completely certain whether I do like.
We can come back to these later if we want to kind of put it on hold for now, and we can come back to the question mark later on that particular module.
I think spending the experience feels like a fair kind of trade for getting the reroll, but I do like the system being pretty brutal and unforgiving at the same time.
Sure.
So I'm a bit torn at the moment.
I think at the very least it is a risk reward thing. It's a significant hit to lose an experience point.
And you could re-roll and still fail.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd be happy to go either way depending on what the group wants. For myself, I'd probably think about it a bit and before I fully commit either way.
No problem. What are your thoughts on it, Mike?
I like it as an idea because it is, as you say, completely optional. It's the player's call. If they feel like that's a role that they should have got and they didn't get, they can choose to use it or they can not choose to use it. And it's therefore in all of our hands if we want to do it or not. And there's advantages to doing it and advantages to not doing it. XP is pretty valuable, but at the same time, making that critical role that we need to Yeah.
No, I agree. And from what that discussion, I don't think anyone in chat has particularly shouted up about it. So it sounds, Chris, like unfortunately other people are going to have fun.
No.
That's
not the point of role play. The point of role play is the crew experience and the
Can I just say that, I'm in favor of doing it, but I really don't see myself ever wanting to use it.
But you might end up in just that situation where you're like, if I don't make this role, you know, So okay. Well, we'll put it in play then. We'll put it in play. So from next week onwards, we're going to introduce re-rolls for experience points if people want them. John, let me know if there's. I'm going to assume. I don't think there's any comments or questions today. Although, let me know if I'm wrong by flashing one up. But in the meantime, let me do our promotional spiel. So if you want to follow us on social media, we are at Telling Tales RP. We're there on Twitter and we're there on Instagram. We'll also have a Facebook group coming this week if you are a member of that benighted social media nightmare. A benighted nightmare. And if you want to know where our VODs are, where our video on demand is, they're all on YouTube. If you search for Telling Tales, we are the Telling Tales account with the same logo as this logo on this Twitch channel. So give us a subscribe there. That would be wonderful. If you've enjoyed this, whether you've watched it here or on YouTube or are watching now, then please do follow and subscribe and all that good stuff. It really helps us out at this early stage. We've got a second series that's starting up kind of midway through October. I don't want to fully confirm a date right now in case it shifts, but it'll be on Mondays. It's coming halfway through October, and we'll be playing Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition with a different group than this, including John, our stream manager, who's going to be playing. So that'll be fun. I'm excited for that. And tell you what, next week, I'll even announce the name of the campaign. How about that? There's temptation for you to come back to us next week. Also this week, it's not active now, but I might as well say it. Like everyone else on Twitch and their dog, we will be getting our Patreon up and running at some point this week. So I'll announce details of that next week. Is there anything else, John? Are we all good? Come on, you don't even type it in the Symbaroum. Come on and tell us, John. Let's see your face. Let's see your face again.
Hiding in the Symbaroum.
Why?
There we go. Why? And you've frozen wonderfully. Yeah, I take it there's no things to pop up, I'm assuming?
Nope.
Okay.
There's a general agreement with the experience thing. Alex is being something of a troll in a good-natured way.
I don't think he knows how otherwise to behave. Wonderful. Okay, well then, thank you, everyone. Thank you, as always, to John for being the glue that holds all this together. Thank you to the players, to Chris and Elle and Sam and Mike, who are making this an absolute dream to run and great fun for everyone. And we'll see you next week, Wednesday at 8 o'clock again, 8 o'clock British summertime. And thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.